Today we are having a look at the mighty Corvega Assembly Plant, where it would have been pumping out plenty of pre-war cars before the bombs fell. It's hard to know whether it was moved over to military service with the Scythe program, but as far as we can tell it was still manufacturing cars till the day the bombs fell, meaning there's a lot to collect here. Now there are two entrances. One is the main one right here. You have the front door and the one above it. And quite frankly, it's heavily defended. There is, however, a tunnel that can be accessed round the side here. And normally, most people don't take it as a way in, usually just a way out. There's the tunnel right there. Go through it and you will encounter some ghouls, but a slightly less difficult entry into the factory itself. It's got a bobblehead, a magazine, and a few other things. The bobblehead is directly up there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go get it, as it is probably one of the most important factors of coming near this particular place. There are over 20 raiders that guard just the exterior. Once you get inside, the party really starts, where the raiders are relentless. There is another entrance into the place. You can find an awful amount to loot. An awful amount. Now, just before we go up the catwalk here, I just want to show you over here that there is this rather large drainage pipe, which seems pretty unusual, because there's actually an entrance to it over here. Now, why on earth would you want to use that? Maybe you want a wee bit of cover, but it provides you with some ammunition and chems. And opening this part, you can find a little hidden skeleton who's normally completely forgotten about. Aha, this is the hatch. Whilst this place does seem a little confusing, it's actually pretty simple to navigate. You can spend forever looking around each and every corner to find every bit of loot, and I highly recommend you do. You will leave here a lot richer if that's what you decide to do. Now, in terms of getting to the catwalk above, it requires a little bit of looking about. Once you do, we can sprint all the way up. And the repair bobblehead's actually a really important factor to any power armor playthrough, as it increases fusion core usage by 10%. Applies to a few other things, but predominantly it's for your power armor. Why go down with the ship when you can try and fix it? Toolcase can also be found up here, and as I said, plenty of raiders will be shooting you, so prepare for a massive firefight when you're up here. Now, let's go back down to the main entrance. It should be mentioned that occasionally the super mutant behemoth that spawns in Lexington after level 20 will be engaged with the raiders here. They somehow always seem to draw its fire. Once you're into the office space, the looting spree begins. The amount of things you can find in here is, it's very difficult to... Oh, there's also a tripwire, which will set off a bomb. It would be a really bad start if you fell for that there. Ah, the raider was using the restroom. Now that we move in after him, you can find a few items just scattered about. It's just a wee main lobby area, bit of admin. Moving into the offices here, they might have held executive meetings here to see about production numbers. Although, in terms of Lord of the Factory, sadly there isn't anything like that. It was a missed opportunity. It would have been interesting to see how Corvega was doing. Okay, now that we've been through this, the next portion is the factory. Well, not the factory, the sort of production side of things at the rear, where they would have put, you know, the materials required to build all the cars. As for the security gate, it's a master lock, and you might wonder, where on earth can I get the key? Well, when you're in Concord and you kill Gristle, he'll have the Corvega storage key. So if you've ever had it and wondered where it accessed, this is it. Opening it up, we can get ourselves explosives and plenty of ammo. With the amount of raiders you'll be killing and looting, ammo shouldn't be a problem, but it is comforting to know that that key you got off Gristle is actually put to some good use. The entrance that we've seen previously from the side brings you out to here. Again, it's the main area with quite a lot of raiders and a turret present, so again, expect a extreme firefight. going up to the top level and across. This is above the front door, another entrance that you can use. It can just get a little confusing depending on which way you go in. But once you clear out this pathway, there's not really much else until you reach the factory at the back, where you'll find Jared. Okay, so now that we've got a few things here, you will probably want to get all these gears and torque rod ends. They scrap into quite a large amount. There's a power armor station if you're wearing any in the vicinity. And if we go into this little barracks where a few of the raiders will be hiding. These ones don't tend to aggro when you're fighting the ones in the other portion. So it can be useful to isolate them and take them out later on. So, back on to the top bit. Using this door here as a bit of a reference point. We can drop back down. And instead of taking the left, like we did, you could also use the elevator. Now it will take you up to the factory, though it's recommended you probably don't do that yet. Okay, so let's head on down this way. And this is kind of another portion of the factory where it appears that they had quite a few generators, perhaps machining, well, the machines to make a lot of the parts. When you clear this out, a few feral ghouls will spawn, which is quite a curious thing. There's all these rather weird canisters, although it's never really clear what on earth they're for. Perhaps paint. There's a wee duffel bag round the side there that's easily missed. And if we go through here, there's the ghouls. The reason they're spawning is they're actually having a problem with the ghouls from Lexington getting in to the factory. So if we go down this way, this leads to the tunnel itself. Now, once you're getting close, the turret will be engaged with a few ferals and a few more will flood in. Occasionally the raiders actually lose the battle and the ghouls start pouring up towards you. Loney's terminal can be accessed here and it gives you a bit of an idea as to what's going on. Lexington is ours, yeah! Wiped out the ghoul swarm without losing anybody. Jared is setting us up in the big car factory for now. Swept through the town again. Gristle and I each took teams and flushed out some ghoul stragglers out of a block of apartments. Already got my eye on a nice one at the top of the building. Been wanting a place with a view for a while. I've asked Jared for another turret down here. He says he's working on it, but he ain't convinced he ain't just blowing me off so he can get back to playing with his chems. We need another turret. This pipe access into Lexington has been great for us so far, but if we don't defend it, it might as well be an open invitation for anyone looking in. Gristle and the boys almost got us killed the other day drinking down here, making all sorts of noises. A bunch of ghouls didn't want to miss the party, stumbled in. Luckily, the boys can still hold their liquor and shoot straight. Jared. Still haven't got the other turret down here. Jared needs to get his head out of his ass. He's been pouring way too much time and caps into trying to figure out this sight thing, when what we need to be doing is securing this place. I'm going to talk to him. Gristle says I'm just going to make him mad, but someone needs to make him see reason. As I said, more ghouls will pour in, and you can use this to exit once you clear them out. They shouldn't be too tough in the early game. I've never been here super late, so perhaps they could be a little tougher. Now, we'll swing round this direction into another portion of the factory. Again, none of this is necessary for any unique items. It's mainly for just looting in general. There's a lot. There's also a lot of raiders, so if you're wanting to just blast your way through it, certainly call down here. Get yourself a chem cooler. Chems are one of the primary things you'll leave here with, which for a lot of people is brilliant. Opening this door will take you out. Oh no, this is how it combines in. There's another door. See how it can get a little confusing? There's another door with an exit sign. That's the one that you come in through the outside. And this is just a whole big loop back to, you guessed it, the exact same portion. So instead of taking the elevator, we can now go up the stairs. Brings us into a kind of kitchen for all the workers. And then heading further up, and further up once again, we're starting to get into the factory. Now this is the main portion. You could have skipped the majority of this and just used the elevator to get straight up to it. And from here you can use the terminal to unlock the Protectron. Now that Protectron has a slight quirk to it. It will kill the raiders, but if you attack any of the turrets, it'll turn hostile too. Bear that in mind, because often I forget about it. And if you want out of here, you just open that door, and then there's a little chain you can take off, and you can safely exit. As for getting over here, press the big red button. It'll deploy the bridge. And yeah, you'll be mincemeat if you don't take out all the turrets at long range though, because that bridge is a funnel. Jared here, pretty easy to identify, is a tough cookie to crack, but taking the Corvega key off him through peaceful means or less peaceful means, and I'll show you where that gets used.
There we go.
The Grognag issue can be found beside his terminal. It means your critical hits with the unarmed melee do 5% extra damage. Nice steamer trunk here as well. And his own personal terminal, so we may as well have a little read in the mind of Jared here. Setting up shop. Gunfire's finally quieted down. Suppose that means either Loney and Gristle wiped up the last of the ghouls, or they're currently serving as someone's meal. But now that Lexington is secure, I can finally get to work. Stumped. Nothing is working. The old woman, she used to just huff some jet, pop some pills, and then she'd start babbling, spouting vision after vision. And they all turned out true. The raiders burning the town, killing the parents, stealing the kids, stealing me. I remember the look in her eyes when she saw my fate. Kid, you're going to be a monster. All true. If I could get that sort of power, that sight, the Commonwealth, the other gangs, no one would have a prayer. But nothing's working. Maybe I need to try upping the dosages or get another bucket. It's not the chems, they're just for a trigger for the sight. It's me, I'm the problem. Wish I'd realised it before my arms looked like pincushions. Well, at least it's a new lead. I need subjects. Experiments continue, but still no successes. But the rumour of free chems has brought plenty of new recruits. Ranks are nearly back to where they were before we cleaned out Lexington. Lonnie thinks it's a waste of time, says we need to spend our time building up defences. But Lonnie doesn't make the decisions, I do. She does seem to be enjoying her new position though. Maybe another dose of Psycho will get her visions firing. She's here. Gristle says there's a caravan headed this way. Some joker in a cowboy hat with a laser musket. 3 civilians and 1 frail old woman dressed like a fortune teller. It's her. I know it's her. I sent Gristle to collect her. I wonder if she'll recognise me. Of course she will. She saw this coming after all. And then from that point you can actually control turrets and spotlights. So if you made it to this point without killing them, well, might be a good point to do something about it. As for his key, it's for a safe just underneath. It doesn't contain anything unique. It's just a neat little thing for you to find. A few more raiders will spawn as you're assaulting the place, so you'll have to be aware of them. Going to the back, you can see the janitor kind of, took himself off here with a bottle of vodka. And that's pretty much all he wrote. Then going to the edge, you can just find the rest of the pretty awesome looking car production line with all the robots working away to make sure that Corvegas were streaming off of the line. Now, let's exit out to the Commonwealth. And from here, you can get a cedar baseball bat, unchain the door, and you're out. To which you can kind of mosey on to any direction you want. Climbing up here, though, bring you into this little shed that contains additional chems and another toolbox, which usually has chems in it. That seems to be a running theme with this factory. This other portion has a few raiders on it, and if you work your way through the catwalk, it takes you onto the main section. Some raiders are sitting drinking some beer in here. You'll give them quite the spook if you sneak up on them. Throwing in an explosive deals with them pretty fast. Now, let's have a look at the map. The Corvega Assembly Plant is beside Lexington and the Lexington Apartments, one of the first places you'll come to. Whilst it is a massive sprawling factory, as you can see, it is easy to tame. Now from this point we'll be heading on to Grey Garden, so see you over there. Thank you for watching.